Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today I'm doing the flip side of yesterday's video. Yesterday I did my least favorite things about Wizard101. Today I'm doing my favorite things about Wizard101 because you can't just do like a negative video without doing a positive video on a flip side. It's just like, you know, it's kind of lame if you do that. So I'm doing my top 5 favorite things in Wizard101 today. But first, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I am like, you know, I didn't think this would genuinely help, but saying to subscribe in the beginning of the video really does help. I'm trying to hit 4,000 by the end of the year, so make sure to check and go hit the subscribe button if you want. Like 40% of you subscribed. Whatever, move on. I'm tired of the self-promo. Let's get into my favorite things in Wizard101. Starting with number 5, I would have to say is the story. The story in this game is fantastic, and it's been like near and dear to my heart since I started playing. I absolutely adore the story, and it's wonderfully crafted in such a beautiful way. Like, whoever the story writers are, because I don't know, you guys probably, I would say, are carrying Wizard101 the hardest. Now, I'm not going to say that the rest of the devs aren't just as good, but man, this story is fantastic. Like, I don't know how they've crafted it so well. They've made lovable characters, lovable and hateable villains, just good villains all around. It's a story that makes me want to keep coming back, and that's actually amazing to me. Like, there isn't many games where I play it for the story and I pay attention to the story as much as Wizard101. Like, I've played, you know, say Jedi Fallen Order like 6 times, and, you know, after like the 3rd, I stopped paying attention to the story because I kind of already know what's going to happen. But I can't say that for this game. I still pay attention to the story all the time, and I love it. I think it's really good, and if you haven't paid attention to it, you really should. It's just really cool, and I love the lore that's been crafted into this world. I think they did it wonderfully. They've crafted it wonderfully, and it's definitely one of my favorite things in this game. Number 4, and this is definitely going to be a controversial one, and this very much person dependent. Number 4, my favorite thing in this game is the grind. Now, I know a lot of people hate grinding. Like, a lot of people hate grinding. And that is completely understandable. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I love grinding 100% of the time. But I am a weird person. I am a weird person who likes MMORPGs. Not everyone likes MMORPGs. Some people just like Wizard101, and I understand that. But I am really, really in love with grinding in games. I just love the ability to mindlessly farm something for hours and, you know, still have like a fun time, or, you know, just grind out getting some gear. Whatever. I think that it's one of my favorite aspects of this game. I love that I'm not just given everything instantly. I love that I have to actually work for it. Now, obviously, it depends, right? Like, I don't like grinding Darkmoor. I've never said I would like grinding Darkmoor. But, like, I can enjoy detritus runs every once in a while, you know, as long as it's double reagents, I'm fine with it. Like, doing waterworks, I love it every single time I reach it on a character. I just love grinding in video games, and I think that people don't like that as much as some others, which is completely understandable, right? I'm not saying that you should like this as much as I do. I just like it. I enjoy grinding in video games. It's one of my favorite features of MMOs, and it's the reason why I love MMOs so much. But other games as well, like, my friend and I were playing Skyrim this one time, right? And I distinctly remember that not everyone likes grinding, and I could tell this because we were in, like, a loop where enemies would respawn constantly, and I was like, man, we should sit here and just grind out one of our skills for, like, a bit. And, like, 10 minutes later, he was like, I'm bored, let's move on. And I was like, oh, I could have kept doing this for hours at a time. And that's the difference between me and other people. And I understand that not everyone can be addicted to grinding like I am. So let's move on to number 3. Number 3 in this game for me has to be the music. If there's one thing that's better than the story in this game, it is the music. Somehow KingsIsle has designed every single soundtrack to perfectly fit the world. There isn't a single soundtrack that I think doesn't fit the world almost exactly what the world is meant to be portraying. The Marleybone soundtrack is probably my favorite in the game, which is going to be in the background of this video. It's just amazing. Like, all of them are amazing, and I don't know how they built them so well. Each soundtrack is perfectly designed, and there hasn't been a single time in this game where I've contemplated, like, turning off the music naturally beyond, you know, for videos. Like, for videos, I obviously have to turn it off so that the jump cuts don't get really awkward, but for just naturally playing the game, I love having the music in the background. And the second they put this music on Spotify, you bet that I'm just going to be listening to it like casually, like in the background. I mean, you guys can see on my Discord server when I listen to Spotify, and you'll see the second it comes out, I will be just like looping the Wizard 101 soundtracks. They're so good. Like, there isn't a single one I dislike. There are some I like more than others. For example, like, I don't really like Chrysalis nearly as much as I like, say, Marleybone, but that doesn't mean that any of them are bad. All of them are good, which is shocking. I've never had a single game where I've thought every soundtrack fits nearly as perfectly as this. So, music, A+. Number 2, this one is a little bit hard for me to explain, but I'm going to say the playability. And what I mean by this is that Wizard 101 is in a perfect state for me, where there's two options. I can either choose to fully focus on it and have a fun time, or I can choose to not fully focus on it and still have a fun time and still be able to play. I love that, and I love that in video games. And what I mean by this is that I love being able to have Wizard 101 and play Wizard 101, but it not be my primary focus. For example, my friend and I, when grinding up some of our characters in the past, we've been watching Naruto. We're on episode like 110 of Naruto or something. And we watched all of that while playing Wizard 101. And I love the fact that I can focus on Naruto, or watching the sub version, by the way. So we're reading subtitles. We can read the subtitles, pay attention to Naruto, and still be able to play Wizard 101 at the same time. I love that. I think that it's amazing that I can do that, and I just love that. I love the fact that I can focus on it and focus on other things at the same time, because it makes it so that I can do, like, multiple things beyond just playing Wizard 101. But on the flip side of that, it's not captivating enough to completely capture my attention. And that's what I love about it. The fact that, yes, I can do other things, but also I can purely focus my attention all on Wizard 101 if I want to. So, for example, like, another game we played one time was Bloons Tower Defense 6. And Bloons Tower Defense 6 is the opposite of Wiz, I would say. It's primarily a game you play on the side. Like, normally I wouldn't just play Bloons Tower Defense 6 and do nothing else at the same time, because that would just be a little bit boring, to be honest. But Wizard 101, I can do either. I can either choose to fully focus my attention on it, or do something else at the same time, and I really, really love that about Wizard 101. Alright, for number 1 on our list, and this is going to be a real twist, a real flip side, is the players. Now, you may be like, Noah, how is your number 1 most disliked thing in this game the players, and your number 1 most liked thing in this game is the players? Well, I have such a love-hate relationship with the players in this game, and I feel like it would be wrong of me to not include the players on one of my favorite things in Wizard 101. And that's because for as many people I hate in this game, for as many storm wizards and fire wizards with egos, as many like people who are just toxic and dark more, there's equally as many really cool people as well, like people who will help you out just for fun, people in Team Up who will help you out, people who quest with you, people in my community, like fantastic people who will like lend you their pets just for fun. Like back in the day, people didn't do that. Like, to hatch a pet, you kind of had to, like, bribe someone with packs or something. Like, now there's just people that are willing to just help. And I think that that's really, really cool. I think the player base is amazing, and the community I've cultivated is so good. Like, I think the people I've cultivated in my community are largely the people that I was talking about that are good people in Wiz. Like, not the bad people, the good people. The people who will help you out, lend a hand, have a good time, or simply just vibe and play the game. And that is what I like in people. I like people who vibe and play the game and not, are toxic losers, right? And I think that that's really cool. Those type of people are my favorite, and I think that the community is genuinely one of my favorites. Like, I'm part of the Wizard 101 community. I love it, and it's definitely like a home to me, right? Where I have a lot of friends in this community, and I have a lot of people that are like pretty close to me, and I do really enjoy that I can do that. And that is why one of my favorite things in this game is the players. It's this weird fine line where I both love and hate the players, and I think that that's fair in any game. Whether people agree with me or not, I don't know. I think that the Wizard 101 community is genuinely, like, pretty solid. There's some, not so solid people, but I would say a majority of them, at least the majority of my community, is pretty cool. and I do love it. So that's my list for my top 5 favorite things in Wizard101. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your top 5 maybe? Something like that. I think that, you know, it would be interesting to see in the comments. Let me know what you think. But that's it for today. Make sure to drop a like, hit the sub button, go support me financially on Patreon, and join my Discord server if you wish. Thank y'all for all the support recently. It's really been outstanding, like the amount of subs I've gained in the last like 5-6 days from, you know, just simply asking. Who knew that all I needed to do was simply ask and I would receive? So that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.